He's got a voice like solid gold and a twinkle in his eye. And keeping that eye firmly placed on our parliamentarian buddies is Tony Amos. We welcome Tony and the weekly political roundup.
Tony Amos.
Hello, Gerard. Breaking fifth into song there, or was that fourth into song?
Nearly got into song then, didn't I?
A little song from Gerard to open the show. What a good way to start.
Tony, what's the buzz?
Oh, the buzz. The buzz this week is Wanganui, or Whanganui, depending where the heck you're from, doesn't it, eh? I mean, but a bit of a win in Wanganui. Not for Wanganui, but for the rights of all New Zealanders to dress the way we want to. Because the Wanganui Council had passed some local bylaws saying that motorcycle club members couldn't wear their colours, their uniforms, if you like, in central Wanganui. Well, it took one senior member of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club to take the Wanganui Council to court, and guess what? The council was wrong, the Hells Angel man was right. So the buzz is you can fight City Hall and win.
Tony, speaking of Whanganui, with all that big kerfuffle about the H, how's that campaign with the Waikato Maoris about putting the sea back into Huntly?
It's going very well, as a matter of fact, Gerard, very well, about this division, as there usually is, and 50% agree this way, 50% agree that way, because half of them want the sea to be put back in, but they wanted to call it Chuntly, and that just won't work.
Nice one, Tony. Putting the sea back into Huntly.
Where it belongs.
It's progressing. But let's talk about politics, Tony.
Oh, yes, politics. Our weekly look at the ruggies and lifters. That's right, the oddballs and misfits, the sooks and the crooks, the rooters and looters of public office we proudly call our politicians.
And there's some good news for Stephen Joyce this week, Tony.
Oh, yes, Stephen Joyce, Transport Minister and List MP. He got the best news. He thought it was his birthday. He thought all his birthdays had come at once. Why? Because his contemporary competitor, Simon Power, has announced he's going to leave Parliament. Yes, Simon Power, who's been jostling for position with Joycey. Those two have been lining up the opportunity there when John Key eventually steps away. When Shonky Jonky goes, one of them wanted to replace him as the leader, of course. Well, Simon Power has taken a pretty big step for any politician to make, especially when he's rising like that, by announcing that at the next election he will step down. Now, personally, I've never had a huge amount of time for Simon Power, but I tell you what, by making this announcement, that's the mark of the man, and he really has gone up in my estimation. But he's decided he's had enough of politics. He's going to step aside and go into private enterprise, and good luck to him, I say.
And I have heard a little whisper about some infighting in the National Party.
Well, there has been some infighting in the National Party, as there always is in any political party, of course. When you bring people into a political party, they've all got opinion, and they all want to win, they all want to be the most important, etc., etc., etc. And of course, Lockjaw Smith, yes, the Speaker, Lockjaw Smith, he's stepping down as the member for Rodney. He's going to retire, our Lockjaw. So the selection process in the Rodney electorate is underway, and there's all sorts of infighting going there. There are two primary candidates, and they're both being accused, or accusing each other, if you like, of manipulating the system so they get the selection, because it's a guarantee. I mean, it's a blue ribbon seat. It's a guaranteed National Party win, and I think it's more than appropriate. There's some dodgy politics going down in a seat called Rodney, because we all know who Rodney is, don't we? Yes, Rodney Stickhyde, who's always been very concerned. Every time Rodney Hyde has travelled north, he sees that big sign, he tremors, he worries, a little tear comes to his eye, because the sign reads, "You are now entering Rodney."
Now, what's the fallout from the Maori Party about Honi going his own way?
Oh, Harawira, yes, gone his own way as such. Well, sort of gone his own way, that's right. He did a deal, as we discussed a week or two ago, and most people know, although it hasn't been headlines in the news because of other tragic events happening around our nation, but Hone would become an independent MP for his northern Maori seat, but he wouldn't stand against the Maori Party in any of the other seats in the next election, and indeed they won't stand against him, but general seats are open slather. And of course now he's announced that he's considering forming a bit of a loose coalition, if you like, a bit of a loose grouping with some other independent MPs. And maybe standing at the next election. So now, if he does coalesce with another group, it will be a real threat to the Maori Party. And Sharples and Tariana Turia and co could be gone. But watch this space, because if nothing else, there's going to be a fair bit of entertainment.
I'm waiting for it, Tony. There's always a very interesting little tale about our List MP.
Oh yes, never forget the List MPs. Never mind that nobody voted for them. They are very important people. You just ask one of them. They are very important people, the List MP. And there's always a good story about a List MP. In fact, there was a story the other day about a List MP who returned to the List MP room. And he walked in and he wasn't looking quite himself. And one of his colleagues said, you okay? He said, well, he said, not really. He said, I've just been for my 6th monthly checkup. And the other SMP said, well, how was it? He said, well, it was okay until the end. And he said, what do you mean it was okay till the end? He said, well, right at the end of it, he said, he put on a rubber glove and popped his finger into my bottom. And the other SMP said, well, yes, that's what they do. And he said, well, is that usual? Or do you think I should change dentists? And that's politics. See you next week.
He's out there in the rain.